Before we begin, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching this late at night, let me know where you're from and what time it is where you are. That way, YouTube knows you want more stories just like this, delivered straight into the dark. Now, let's begin. We were inseparable once. Me and James. We met in 5th grade, bonded over comic books and the fact that we both hated gym class. By the time we were in high school, we were more like brothers than friends. He practically lived at my house. My mom called him her second son. Sleepovers, road trips, even vacations, we did everything together. But looking back now, I think I mistook closeness for control. And I didn't realize until it was far too late that James was always watching, always hiding something. It started small. When we were 17, my dog went missing. A big, lazy golden retriever named Boomer. I was heartbroken. A few weeks later, I found a burned dog collar in the fire pit behind James's house. It looked like Boomer's. But when I asked him about it, he just laughed and said his uncle's dog had passed and they burned its things to say goodbye. I wanted to believe him, because believing the alternative, that my best friend might have hurt my dog, felt insane. So I let it go. Senior year, we started hanging out at his place more. His parents were never home. Both worked overnight shifts at the hospital. James's house was big but old, drafty. The kind where the walls creak even when no one's walking. One night I stayed over and heard footsteps in the basement around 2 a.m. I asked James if his parents were home early. He said, nah, just the house settling. I didn't sleep well. A week later, I went down into the basement to grab sodas while he was in the shower, and I found the door. It wasn't hidden exactly, just wedged behind an old mattress leaning against the wall. A thin wooden door with a rusted handle and a padlock. It had scratch marks around the base, like someone or something had tried to get out. I asked James about it when he came downstairs. His eyes changed. He didn't blink, just smiled and said, "That's the room where the rats live. Dad said not to open it ever." He wasn't joking, but I forced a laugh and changed the subject. A month later, James got weirdly angry when I started dating someone. Said I was pulling away. Said he needed me. I laughed it off, said we were growing up, that it was normal. But that night, my girlfriend's car tires were slashed in our school parking lot. She never found out who did it. But I had a feeling. Everything fell apart one weekend in October. I stopped by James's house unannounced. The front door was slightly open. No cars in the driveway. I called his name, no answer. Something felt off. I walked in, heading to the basement. The house was dead silent. That's when I noticed the mattress was moved. And the padlock on the door? Broken. The wooden door was slightly ajar. A faint light flickered from inside. I should have left. I should have run. But I pushed it open. The room was small, maybe 8 by 10 feet. The walls were lined with pictures. Hundreds of them. Photos of me. Sleeping, eating, walking with friends, laughing. Years worth of images printed and pinned. Some were taken inside my own house. There were voice recordings too. Old school cassette tapes labeled with dates. One played softly in the corner. He doesn't know I followed him today. He went to lunch without telling me. I think he's hiding things from me. I have to be sure. My skin went cold. I heard footsteps behind me. James stood in the doorway. No smile this time, just calm. He said, "You were never supposed to see this. But it's okay. Now we don't have to pretend anymore." I ran past him, sprinted out the door and didn't stop until I was at the neighbor's yard. They called the police. When they searched the basement later, they found more than just pictures. They found a lockbox full of notes, hair strands, small objects stolen from my room. And they found journals, detailed accounts of my entire life, day by day, hour by hour. They called it obsessive surveillance. Said it bordered on delusional identity fusion, that James believed our lives should never be separate. He was committed for psychiatric evaluation. His parents moved away 2 months later. I still sleep with the lights on sometimes. Not because I think he'll come back, but because I know someone can live right next to you, share your deepest secrets, laugh at your jokes, and still see you as theirs. Not a friend, not even a person, just something to study, to copy, to own. There's a unique kind of pain that only comes from someone you trust. Not a stranger, not an enemy, but a friend. Someone who knows your insecurities, your fears, someone who sees your weaknesses and chooses to use them. I used to believe my friend Kayla would never do that to me, but I was wrong. We met in college. She was loud, funny, confident, the kind of person who made every room feel like a party. I was quieter, more careful. She said she liked that about me, said we balanced each other out. For 2 years we were inseparable. Study nights, late-night fast food runs, road trips to nowhere. She introduced me to her friends, brought me into her world. It felt like I finally belonged. But things started to shift in our 3rd year. She started leaving me out of plans. First it was small. She'd forget to tell me about a movie night or claim she thought I was busy. Then came the party. It was on a Saturday night. I saw it unfold on Instagram like a horror movie in slow motion. Kayla all dressed up. My other classmates, even people I didn't know she was close to, smiling, dancing, posing with drinks. And there she was, right in the middle of it. What cut deepest wasn't the party. It was the caption. Only the real ones. That stung. I tried to play it cool the next time I saw her. She acted normal, like nothing had happened. When I brought it up, she shrugged and said, "Oh, that. It was just a last-minute thing. You wouldn't have liked it anyway." I told her it hurt. She said I was being dramatic, that maybe I was just too sensitive. I started to wonder if she was right. But then it got weirder. I'd walk into class and feel people looking at me, whispering. One of my lab partners made a joke I didn't understand, something about how I couldn't take a hint. I asked what he meant. He just smirked and said, "Ask Kayla." So I did. She laughed and said, "Oh, don't be paranoid. People just joke. Maybe you shouldn't make everything about you." She had a way of saying things like that, making you doubt your own emotions, making you wonder if you were the problem. Then one night, I got a text from an unknown number. "You deserve better friends, check her Finsta." I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won. The link led to a private Instagram account, and it was hers. Kayla's burner account. Every post was a meme, a photo, or a clip, all mocking me. My outfit, my laugh, the way I spoke. Even private things I'd told her turned into jokes for her and her friends. She had posted screenshots of our messages with captions like, "She's so needy, it's exhausting." "Why is she always acting like we're best friends? I need space from the charity case." My hands shook as I scrolled. 2 years of friendship. And this was what she really thought? No, this was what she wanted others to think. She was performing my humiliation for likes. I didn't confront her, not directly. I blocked her everywhere, deleted every picture, every message, every connection. She tried to text, left voicemails saying she was worried about me, said I was overreacting, said I must have misunderstood. But I didn't misunderstand. I saw what she posted. I heard how she twisted my life into a joke for entertainment. She lost access to me that day. But here's the part that still haunts me. A few months later, I got a DM from another girl, someone I didn't know. She said, "Hi, I know this is weird, but I think I'm where you were. Kayla's doing to me what you described in your tweets. It's like she's building a mirror of me, then slowly smashing it." I never responded. I didn't want to open the door again. But I realized something important. Some bad friends don't stab you in the back. They smile to your face, share your secrets, laugh at your jokes, and slowly poison you with doubt until you don't recognize yourself anymore. When I first met Darren, I was at one of the lowest points in my life. New city, no family, no support. Just a crumbling relationship and a tiny studio apartment with a leaky ceiling. He came into my life like a rescue boat. Funny, helpful, always knew how to cheer me up. He helped me move, fixed things around the apartment, even brought groceries when money was tight. At first, I thought I was lucky to have someone like that. Someone who actually cared. But what I didn't realize was Darren didn't want to help me. He wanted to own me. It started subtly. If I didn't answer a text within 5 minutes, I'd get follow-ups. Everything okay? You busy? You mad at me? At first, I thought it was sweet. He was just worried, just attentive, but the messages grew more frequent, more intense. If I went out with coworkers, he'd text things like, "Guess I'm not invited again. Hope you're having fun ignoring me." I'd feel guilty. Cancel plans. Invite him to join, even when I didn't want to. He always said yes. Then came the warnings. Be careful around that guy from accounting. He seems fake. You really trust your roommate? She gives me weird vibes. Your sister never calls, that's not normal, just saying. He slowly began cutting everyone else out of my life. And I let him. Because Darren made it feel like he was the only one I could trust. The only one who actually saw me. One day I got a call from my mom. She said someone called her pretending to be my landlord, said I was behind on rent, and that my lease was ending. I hadn't missed a payment. My rent was auto-paid. When I asked Darren if he knew anything, he looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Maybe someone's trying to mess with you. People get jealous when they see you doing well." That same week, I got an email from a fake job listing. It was for my dream role, a position I had told Darren about months ago. I applied. The form asked for all my details, resume, ID number, even personal references. A few days later, the website vanished. The link was dead. And I started getting strange calls, blocked numbers, heavy breathing, silence. One night, I came home and found my laptop screen open. An email draft addressed to my boss, filled with lies. Stuff about how I'd been stealing work, lying about hours. I never wrote it. Never opened that email. But Darren had a key to my apartment. I had given it to him months ago, back when I trusted him. The next morning, I confronted him. He didn't deny anything. He just stared at me and said calmly, "You're safer when I know what's going on." I told him to leave. He smiled. "I will. But when you realize everyone else abandoned you, don't expect me to pick up again." And he walked out. I changed my locks, wiped my devices, warned my contacts, but it didn't stop there. My social media started glitching, statuses posted without me, likes and follows to accounts I didn't recognize. I'd get notifications at 3 a.m. saying someone tried to reset my passwords. One night I got a call from an unknown number. It was a voice recording, my own voice, stitched together to sound like I was confessing to crimes I'd never committed. The next day I got an envelope under my door. Inside, a USB stick. It had a folder titled "In Case You Forget." Inside were pictures of me sleeping, eating, reading, all taken from outside my window. That was the last straw. I went to the police, filed reports, presented everything. They said they'd look into it, but Darren was smart. Nothing could be directly traced to him. No fingerprints, no clear threats, just a digital ghost haunting every part of my life. I moved cities 2 months later, deleted everything, started over with a new number, new name on social. Sometimes I still wonder if he's watching, if he's tracking this new version of me, because he didn't want me as a friend. He wanted control. And when you give someone access to your life, no matter how kind they seem, sometimes they don't walk through the door. They change the locks and build a prison around you instead. I've known Kira since I was 6 years old. We grew up on the same street, played hide and seek together, had sleepovers, shared secrets we thought we'd never tell anyone else. People used to say we were like sisters, and maybe that's what made it harder to see what she really was. Not a sister, not even a friend, but someone who could only be happy when I wasn't. Growing up, I thought her jealousy was just part of who she was. If I got a new toy, she said hers was better. If I made a new friend at school, she'd cling to me for days and talk trash about them behind their back. But she always made it sound like she was protecting me. I just don't want you to waste your time with fake people. At first, I believed her. Then I started to notice something. Every time something good happened in my life, something bad followed, and it always had her fingerprints on it. When I got the lead role in a school play, she signed up to help backstage. The night of the performance, my costume went missing. We found it in the boys' locker room, soaked in water. She said she found it there and had no idea how it got there. When I got accepted to a university out of state, she cried. Not tears of joy, real sobbing heartbreak. I thought we were going to do everything together. She applied to the same school last minute. Got in, requested to be my roommate without asking me. And just like that, the one thing I thought was mine became ours. College was when things got worse. I made new friends, started dating, joined clubs, opened up, and for the first time, to a world outside of her. And every time I tried to grow, Kira found a way to pull me back. She'd guilt me. You never have time for me anymore. We used to be best friends. What happened to us? She'd isolate me. One time she told my boyfriend that I cheated on him with someone she made up. He dumped me without even asking. When I confronted her, she cried. Said she was trying to protect me from someone she thought was using me. I believed her. Again. Then came the internship. It was huge, a competitive writing program in New York. Only 10 students were selected from across the country, and I got in. I told Kira the night I got the email. She hugged me, told me she was proud. The next day I got a rejection letter. Confused, I emailed the director, only to learn they'd received a withdrawal email from my address. I never sent it. I checked my inbox, my sent folder, nothing. But the timestamp matched the hour I was in the shower, and Kira had been in our dorm room alone. She denied it, swore she would never do that. But when I looked at her, I saw it, the flicker of satisfaction just under the panic. The smallest smile that she tried to bury. That was when it clicked. Kira wasn't just jealous. She was dependent on me being beneath her, on me needing her. And the moment I started to rise, she made sure to knock me back down. I moved out the following week, blocked her on everything. She showed up at my work a few days later crying again, saying I was being dramatic, that I was hurting her for no reason, that I was throwing away years of friendship. But this time I didn't let her in. I didn't explain, because I knew she'd twist it. She always did. A year later, she tried again. New number, new account. Said she wanted to apologize. But when I clicked her new profile, it was filled with passive-aggressive posts about fake friends, betrayal, and how some people owe you everything and still leave. Some people. She meant me. It took me a long time to realize that not all toxic friends are loud. Some are soft-spoken. Some disguise their control as concern, their sabotage as protection, and their jealousy as love. But love doesn't smother you. Love doesn't sabotage your wins. Love doesn't keep score every time you smile. Kira didn't love me like a sister. She hated me like a mirror, always reflecting the things she couldn't be. And sometimes the worst friends are the ones who never let you breathe until you break. In every friendship, there's an unspoken rule. If one of us messes up, the other has our back. At least that's what I used to believe. Until I met Rachel. She was magnetic, charismatic, hilarious. The kind of person everyone gravitated toward. And when she picked you to be her best friend, you felt special, chosen. For me, that started in senior year of high school. By the time we graduated, we were like sisters. Or at least, that's what I thought. College only made our friendship stronger. We picked the same university, roomed together, shared everything, passwords, clothes, secrets. She used to say, "You and me against the world." I believed her. Until one night everything fell apart, and I learned what that promise really meant. It was a Friday night. Midterms were over, and a bunch of us went to a house party off campus. Rachel was drinking heavily, more than usual. She got loud, reckless, started picking fights with people. She dragged me outside at one point and whispered, "Don't let me say anything stupid tonight." I laughed it off, thinking she was just tipsy. Around midnight, she disappeared. I assumed she left early. She did that sometimes. So I stayed, hung out with friends, and left around 1:30. The next morning, campus police were at our door. Someone had called in an anonymous report. Vandalism, harassment, and property damage at the party house. Windows were broken, tires slashed, spray paint on the garage, including some pretty vile stuff. And my name was the one they had. Someone had given it to them. They said I was seen near the backyard, that I had been angry and belligerent. They had a witness. I was stunned. I tried to explain I didn't even leave the front yard. I didn't vandalize anything. I didn't even have a can of paint. But the more I denied it, the more suspicious I sounded. The worst part? Rachel said nothing. She sat quietly in our room while I was questioned. She looked at me with wide eyes and whispered, "I don't know what happened. I was so drunk. Maybe you just don't remember?" That sentence still echoes in my head. Maybe you just don't remember. They suspended me temporarily while they investigated. I missed a major exam, lost my campus job. My scholarship was put on hold. Rachel acted supportive the whole time. "We'll get through this." They have no proof. I'll be your alibi if they ask. But I noticed something strange. She never once offered to speak up for me, never volunteered to say where she was, and every time I mentioned the night, she looked more nervous than I did. A week later, someone from the party messaged me. She said she had seen Rachel that night, said she was in the backyard, alone, near the time everything happened. And more importantly, she said, "Rachel was freaking out after you left. She said something like, 'She'll take the blame. She's loyal.'" That was the moment it all clicked. Rachel had let me walk into the fire, and she'd stood back quiet and innocent while I burned. I confronted her. I told her what I knew, what I'd been told. She didn't deny it. She just sat on her bed, folded her arms, and said, "You always said you'd do anything for me." And then, like it meant nothing, "You got through it, you're fine now." Like my life nearly falling apart was just a temporary inconvenience, something to get over. I moved out that weekend. The school dropped the investigation eventually. Lack of evidence, inconsistent witness statements, but the damage was done. My GPA tanked, my job never came back. And worst of all, I stopped trusting people. Because the worst betrayal doesn't come from enemies. It comes from the one person who knows exactly how to hurt you and smiles while doing it. Rachel never apologized, but every so often she texts me, birthday wishes, old photos, casual check-ins, as if she didn't try to ruin me, as if we're still friends. But I don't answer, because I know now. Some friends don't stab you in the back. They hand you the knife and make you think you deserve to hold it. When people talk about toxic friendships, they often mention jealousy, lies, betrayal. But no one warns you about the friend who says, "I'm just being honest." That was Chloe's favorite line. "I'm just being honest. Don't be mad, I'm only telling you the truth." And I believed her until that truth chipped away at everything I thought I was. We met in college during a group project. She was sharp, articulate, confident. The kind of person who could point out every flaw in a system or a person without blinking. I admired her at first. She said things no one else dared to say. And when she started calling me her best friend, I felt flattered. She was the kind of person who didn't like many people. So being chosen by her made me feel special. But that was the trap. It started with little things. You talk too fast in presentations, people can't follow you. That top makes your shoulders look wide. He's not really into you, I can just tell. Always said with a shrug, a smile, like she was helping me. When I'd push back, she'd act confused. I thought we were close enough to be real with each other. That line silenced me, because I didn't want to be the sensitive one. I didn't want to be the friend who couldn't handle honesty. So I swallowed it, and slowly I started doubting myself. When I landed an internship, she said, they probably needed to meet a diversity quota. When I got a boyfriend, she said, he's cute but kind of out of your league. When I cut my hair short, she said, brave, I wouldn't be able to pull that off. That one hurt the most, because what she really meant was, you can't pull this off, but good for you for trying. Every compliment was a jab. Every piece of advice had a hook buried in it. And I kept thinking maybe I was the problem. Maybe I was insecure. Maybe I couldn't take criticism. Until one night after a dinner with friends, one of them pulled me aside. She said, does Chloe always talk to you like that? I asked what she meant. She said, like you're her charity project. I went home and cried. Not because I was hurt. I'd gotten used to that. But because someone else had finally seen it too. A few days later, I tried to create distance. Didn't respond to every text. Said I was busy when she asked to hang out. She noticed immediately. You're acting weird. Are you mad at me? I was just joking the other day. You're not really that sensitive, are you? Then came the guilt. Wow, I open up to you and you're gonna ghost me? I guess I was wrong about how close we were. She made me feel like the villain. Like I was abandoning her. Like I was overreacting. And for a while, I believed it. Again. But then during one group hangout, she said something I'll never forget. I was talking about applying to grad school, something I had been dreaming of for years. She laughed and said in front of everyone, she's gonna apply, but she'll never survive it. She's too soft. The table went silent. No one laughed. One of our friends said, that's not funny. But Chloe just smiled. It's not a joke, I'm being honest. And that was it. That was the moment I realized Chloe didn't want the best for me. She wanted to be the one who defined me. She didn't want me to succeed unless she could take credit for it. And if she couldn't be above me, she'd make sure I never rose at all. I cut her off that week. No explanation, no long goodbye. Just blocked and moved on. And for a long time I doubted myself. Because emotional abuse doesn't leave bruises. It leaves questions. Was it really that bad? Maybe I was too sensitive. Maybe I should have explained it better. But with time, I realized something. Kindness doesn't require cruelty, and honesty doesn't need to hurt. Real friends want you to grow, not stay small enough to make them feel big. Chloe didn't ruin me, but she taught me how to spot the next person who might try. Now, when someone says, I'm just being honest, I ask myself, is it honesty or is it control wrapped in cruelty? And if the answer doesn't feel right, I walk away before they get the chance to break me too. I met Emily at my first real job after college. I was nervous. New city, new office. I didn't know anyone. She was the first person to say hi. Bright smile, warm eyes, easy laugh. She helped me navigate everything, from paperwork to lunch spots to office politics. Within a few weeks, we were having coffee every morning. By month 2, we were carpooling. She called me her work wife, said she hadn't clicked with someone this fast in years. And I believed her. But I didn't realize she wasn't just getting close to me. She was studying me. It started subtly. She bought the same coffee mug I had, the one I got from a bookstore in my hometown. I thought it was cute. Then she bought the same sweater I wore to work, even posted a mirror selfie with the caption, "Feeling like my girl today." Still, harmless. But then she started mimicking how I spoke. My jokes, my hand gestures, even the phrases I used when I was nervous. She said it was funny how much we had in common, but it wasn't common. It was copied. The first time I felt genuinely unsettled was during a team meeting. I pitched a campaign idea I'd been working on for weeks, only for her to piggyback off it seconds later, rephrasing my exact pitch, louder. Everyone clapped. She looked at me and smiled. We're always on the same wavelength, huh? It kept happening. She'd intercept emails meant for me, volunteer for projects I was already leading, start conversations with my contacts before I got the chance to introduce her. And every time I confronted her, she laughed. You're paranoid, we're just alike, that's all. Then she started hanging out with my friends outside work, without telling me. She'd show up in their Instagram stories at places I mentioned wanting to go. She even told one of them she'd known me forever, which wasn't true. But the worst came when I applied for a promotion, a leadership position, one I had been working toward for over a year. I kept my application quiet, told only a few people. Emily wasn't one of them. But a day before I submitted it, she announced she was applying too, with the exact same project proposal I'd been working on in private, down to the tagline I'd scribbled in my personal notebook. I was shocked. She denied everything. Great minds think alike, she shrugged. Guess we both have good taste. I didn't get the promotion. She did. She stood at the office podium, thanking the team, smiling at me from across the room. And in that moment, I felt invisible, like I was watching someone else live my life, wearing my skin. I tried to pull away after that. I stopped texting back, changed my commute, ate lunch alone. She noticed immediately. Are you mad at me? I just admire you so much. Why are you being so cold? And then came the guilt tripping. Everyone says I remind them of you. I guess that's a bad thing now? Things escalated fast. Someone from HR asked to meet. Apparently, I'd been reported for unprofessional behavior, passive aggression, gossiping, spreading rumors about coworkers. I was blindsided. When I asked who made the complaint, they wouldn't say. But the language? It sounded eerily familiar. Phrases Emily used, accusations she once laughed off during our coffee chats. She was slowly rewriting the narrative, making me look unstable, jealous, obsessive. And I realized she didn't just want to be like me. She wanted to replace me. I left that job a month later, not because I was guilty, but because I was tired of fighting for a life someone else had already stolen in pieces. She still works there. I still get LinkedIn notifications showing she's connected with people I once mentored. Sometimes she posts selfies with hashtags I used to use. But she'll never be me, because she didn't want my friendship. She wanted my face, my voice, my story. And when she couldn't have it fully, she tried to erase me so no one would notice the difference. Not all bad friends betray you with knives or secrets. Some smile in your face while becoming your shadow, until you disappear completely. And when the world claps for them, they pretend the echo isn't made from the pieces they stole from you. You've just heard 7 tales that prove the scariest monsters wear familiar faces. If these stories rattled your nerves, remember, there are countless more hiding in the dark waiting to be told. So keep the lights low, the doors locked, and let your nightmares play on repeat. Subscribe to the horror channel 786 now, and join us every night for new stories that linger long after the video ends. Until then, sleep tight.